AP European history, folks. I wanted to give us just a little bit of a review about Louis XIV. We talked about Louis today in class. He's King of France from 1647 to 1715. That's 72 years as the King of France. And two things we should really remember about Louis. One is Versailles, and the second is Louis's foreign policies and how it affected a balance of power. So let's start at Versailles. Louis built Versailles for a number of reasons, partially to get away from the masses of Paris, partially so he could find a whole bunch of honeys and hang out with them, and partially because he wanted a fox hunt and he needed somewhere to hang out. And why not build a 750-room palace that roughly costs $250 billion in order to do it? That's how I'd go if I were going to go. I'd go large. But Versailles' real purpose is not necessarily staying there. Versailles' purpose is luring in the nobles of France and distracting them from the business of the society. While the nobles might have competed for positions that were relatively unimportant, like dude in charge of putting on nightshirt arm on the right, or man who takes out chamber pot, what they weren't competing for was for real influence in French society. Louis is not going to hand out the job as the Minister of Defense or the Minister of Public Works. He's not going to give those jobs to nobles because he knows that the nobility is looking to try and limit his power. So Louis is brilliant in that sense. He takes something that is really distracting, this palace, and he uses it as a way to draw the nobles in and assure that they can't pay attention to the business of society. Number two, foreign policy. Louis is at war for 57 of his 72 years as king. The most significant of these, the ones we remember probably the most, is the last war, the War of Spanish Succession. In that war, Louis was attempting to place his grandson onto the throne of Spain. Now, the other European powers clearly saw this as an attempt to tip the balance of power in France's favor. If you imagine France taking the territories of Spain as well, and then combining to them the other hereditary throne areas that would have come with Spain's land, like Naples in southern Italy, and part of the Italian islands, and he also would have gotten some German states. France suddenly would have been this overly dominant country within Europe, and that's why the countries of Europe decided to join together in a coalition. The Prussians, the English, the Dutch, some of the German states besides Prussia, Austria, gathered together to limit French expansion. They have nothing in common except a willingness to fight Louis to assure that Louis does not become too powerful. What Louis is trying to do here is to push France beyond its natural borders, push it beyond the Rhine River, and push it all the way to the Alps in the south. Unfortunately, he's going to fail, as he often does in foreign policy. But he only fails because, in all fairness, he's fighting more than one country. The French army of 400,000 wasn't outmanned. It was simply outgunned by an army that was larger and larger every time they took the field. Hope this is helpful, and have a good night.